At Subaru of Olathe, we put you in the driver's seat. With at-home test drives, a simplified buying process, service pickup and return, plus we'll deliver your new car right to your door. Shop our huge selection of vehicles your way online anytime at SubaruofOlathe.com.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati with Jake Gutierrez. Let's talk to former Chiefs wide receiver Mark Boerichter. What's up, Mark Boerichter? How are you?
Doing excellent. How are you guys this morning?
Doing very well. We watched the Chargers beat the Raiders last night. Now the Chiefs are one game behind all three teams in the AFC West ahead of them. Any takeaways from what we saw from the Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders, and Los Angeles Chargers this weekend?
No huge takeaways, other than, Vic Fangio's mad at the Baltimore Ravens.
Right. Should he be mad?
Look, I get the player safety piece, okay, I really do. I get all that. I think it is a little bit petty if you're the Ravens to go ahead and run a ball because you want to keep a record going. But then again, it's not that big of a deal. Didn't, I don't know. I guess I understand the player safety piece, but I'm tired of hearing the player safety piece as a excuse for things, right? Like when you're talking about one play.
Right. He was calling he was calling timeouts just before that, with 20 seconds left and 10 seconds left, down 16, right? And trying to score a meaningless touchdown. And what about player safety then? And like John Harbaugh said, he's not aware of a 16-point touchdown that they could score there. So what's the point? Why not? If you're worried about player safety, hey, this game's over. Let's not. And you've already had one quarterback concussed. Let's not get another quarterback hurt. Let's just run the ball once. Time expires and we're out.
Yeah, I don't know. The player safety thing ends up becoming, I'm all for it. Trust me, I am. But it all comes back to, for me, just a bit of an excuse and a way to be bitter about things when you've added a 17th game. Like that's where I'm going with it. Like look, if you got to get upset about something, that's fine. But you probably should be more upset that you guys didn't play well enough to beat the Baltimore Ravens.
There you go.
That's how I look at it.
There it is. That's the right way to look at it too. He's mad that they got beat, and then a little salt in the wound there, and Vic Fangio didn't like it. Okay, so let's move on and talk Chiefs. Jake Gutierrez, extremely anxious to take a victory lap. I had to try to pull the reins in, but Jake's feeling it. He likes what he hears from Travis Kelce. I don't know if you heard the comments we played here just a few minutes ago. Travis Kelce raving about Josh Gordon being in shape and how good he looks. There have been many reports, at least on Sunday, that the Chiefs are considering activating Josh Gordon for the Sunday night game. And even Andy Reid, and we'll get those comments here in a little bit, Andy Reid talked about that it's a possibility. He didn't close the door on it. And so Jake has said that we could see him. He thinks that we'll see him. He said that last week, and now he's very close to declaring victory on anyone who mocked him. What do you think? Do you think we're going to see Josh Gordon on Sunday night against the Buffalo Bills?
I think there's a decent possibility of it. I really thought it was going to take about 3 weeks before we saw him. But I think it says something that, he traveled to Philly, was out on the field warming up with the team, obviously not in uniform, but in pregame warmups. That kind of says something to me. And, we talked about this last week, but I don't think this isn't a guy you're just taking necessarily a flyer on, right? I mean, you are taking a flyer on him, and all of his issues in the past have been substance abuse-wise. They're looking to upgrade their offense any way that they possibly can. And I think when you watch how this defense has played over the first, couple weeks of the season here, you're sitting at 2-2. The more firepower I think offensively you can have, the better off you're going to be. And so it's not going to be a situation where he goes, I mean, he may start, but it's not going to be a situation where he's going out there and playing, 50, 60 plays. They're going to have packages for him and indoctrinate him into the offense that way and kind of work him in. But I would not be surprised if we see him on Sunday evening against Buffalo.
How much credit do I deserve beating everyone to the punch and picking him up in my fantasy league and beating out Chad and Seren and everyone else who was asleep at the wheel, and now he's on my team? How much credit do I deserve for that?
Well, at this point, he hasn't played a snap yet, Steven, so I'm not really sure how much credit I can give you. But
then if you wait till he takes a snap, then he's gone, Mark Boerichter. You got to be forward-thinking. I'm thinking about tomorrow, and these other guys are all thinking about yesterday.
Where are you at in the standings right now?
3-1 right now, feeling very good.
All
feeling
right.
very good.
Yeah, see, so you can afford to be ahead of the game and take a player as well. I like it. I'm not knocking the move.
I like it. I like what you just said right there. Nate Bukaty, your witness.
So we're talking about how they need to upgrade the offense basically because the defense looks so bad right now, and statistically they are the second worst defense in the NFL through 2 weeks in terms of yards per game allowed. How much better is it reasonable to expect this defense to get as the season goes on? They were middle of the pack the last 2 years. They shouldn't have dropped this far down, should they?
No, I think it's reasonable. I mean, they can only go up, right? You can only drop one more spot. Like it's not like it's hard. But I'm not pressing a panic button yet on this defense. Okay, I'm really not. There's time for Steve Spagnuolo to get this fixed. They went through a little bit of this last year at one point too, guys, where their defense didn't look as great, and they had to get on the same page about some things, and they did. And I think that what concerns me about the defense is their lack of alignment and what seems to be confusion from time to time on where they need to line up at. We've seen it back-to-back weeks now. I think it's a communication issue, and that's the part that's concerning to me, right? It's not, they're not very good in terms of tackling. I think everybody can attest and see that they've got to be better there. But I think there are ways that they can get this defense fixed. I really do. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. They are afforded the luxury when it comes out and plays like it did on Sunday of being able to get it fixed because, you've got some time and you've got that luxury of kind of having obviously that buffer that can score a lot of points for you so you can still win games as you get it fixed. And I think they will. Again, it's a long season. They've only played 4 games. It's something to keep an eye on. It's also something to keep an eye on are they going to get Frank Clark back and when? Michael Dana had a tremendous game on Sunday at the defensive end position. I think they need to move Chris Jones back inside. I really do. I think they need to get more of an internal pass rush because they're not getting it done on the edges for the most part. And that being said, Jalen Hurts did a pretty good job of getting the ball out fairly quickly at a lot of times on Sunday. I think that was part of the Eagles' game plan. But there's areas that this defense can improve. Number one, I think it's in the pass rush. I think they need to move Chris Jones back inside. But they do have time to get it fixed. That's I think, the important piece. Once we get to 6 games here in 2 weeks, then we can really start talking about it. But this will be a good challenge on Sunday night with Buffalo coming in. This is a really, really good offense. And Buffalo's defense has been pretty darn good as well. So for the Chiefs defense, this will be another good challenge.
And look, I mean, is it okay? I know that there's that fine line between being a Chiefs apologist and then someone who's just panicking at everything that they see. But, I mean, is it okay to wait till we see the full starting defense perform before we start to say that the ship is sinking? And I understand part of it is being available, being healthy, and having your full complement of players on the field. They haven't had that. But no Frank Clark, no Willie Gay, no Charvarius Ward, no Rashad Fenton. I mean, the cornerback depth chart was tested on Sunday, and they got through it. And to me, I know everyone talks about pass rush, and that is a need, but when I watch this defense, the thing that jumps out off the screen to me more than anything else is the startling lack of athleticism at linebacker, and that's been exploited every week against every opponent. And I know he's not healthy, but he hopefully is going to be. That's what Willie Gay brings to the table. And so you have an opportunity by, like you said it beautifully, bringing Frank Clark back when he's healthy. You can move Chris Jones inside more often. And Mike Dana, 2 sacks on Sunday. He deserves to stay on the field. You bring back Willie Gay. Obviously, that helps the linebackers. That's exactly what they need. And you've got 2 guys that are high up on the depth chart in Charvarius Ward and Rashad Fenton that I think are going to make the secondary better when you get everyone together. The first game they didn't have Matthew. We've gone through all this. But we haven't seen the true starting 11 out there. Maybe we never will. I don't know how bad Frank Clark's hamstring is, this one. But, I mean, can we wait to panic until we see all the guys that are supposed to be out there?
Yeah, that's why I say, I think they'll get this fixed, and let's give it some time, because I'm glad you brought that up, Steven. You just mentioned 4 guys right there that play a lot, and 3 that are technically starters, right? And so you haven't got your full complement. To play devil's advocate a little bit with it, we haven't seen Willie Gay Jr. be consistent or get on the field consistently. We're hoping and looking at the potential of what could happen with that. And obviously he does bring more athleticism to that linebacking core. That's a no-brainer. I'm not stating something we all don't know. But I don't, again, let's not press the panic button on this defense, but they got to get it fixed, and I think they will. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not counting on Frank Clark. I'm just not. And it's not that I don't think he's going to come back from injury. It's just, he hasn't been consistent enough of a player for this team. He was great down the stretch in the Super Bowl victory run. But since then, he hasn't been a guy you can really count on to be consistent. And that's okay if you're going to be a situational pass rusher. And some people may say with the contract it's not all right, but you've made the bed, you're in it, and now you got to live with it. And they've got to figure out a way to get him in position, a situational pass rusher, once he's healthy, to be able to get after the quarterback and become a force. But I think they will get this fixed. I think we do need to reserve a little bit of judgment until they get, most of the pieces back to it. But you do bring up a good point, Stephen, on the lack of linebacking core. That's become a major problem, and teams are starting to exploit that.
I mean, gosh, it makes Willie Gay seem so important. And you talk about not counting on Frank Clark for different reasons. It's hard to count on Willie Gay yet because he hadn't been able to get on the field. I mean, whether it was because last year he didn't know the playbook yet and all the the challenges of the COVID season, and so far this year,
and then he got hurt.
He gets hurt twice, in preseason.
Yeah, that's what I say. There's been a lot of hype about him, and we've all seen the potential. Whether you've been up at camp or watched some preseason games and watched, when he played sparingly last year, there's a ton of potential there. But it's one of those situations that until you see it on a consistent basis, or he's able to get on the field on it, which I think is the more important piece, the way to look at it, you really can't count on him either.
No, you're right. I mean, you're right, but at least they do have these guys coming back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not. It'd be one thing if Gay was out there, and I'm with you on Frank Clark. Like I said, I don't know. If you tell me he's coming back next week, okay. If you tell me he's coming back in a month, okay. Hell, I don't know. But I think Willie Gay has a chance to come back this week, and he can't help but to make a difference because it's a glaring weakness. And the corners, when Ward and Fenton come back, I mean, they need him out there. And so there's in-house upgrades. But at the same time, what you said is a concern, just them not being on the same page, things being in disarray in the red zone, the lack of communication. It seems like it seems like they're always surprised that the teams pick up the pace and try to snap the ball quickly in the red zone. And we talked to Bill Moss about that yesterday. He said, well, you got to point the finger at the coaching staff. You'd understand it better if this was a defensive coaching staff or a coordinator in his first year. Why are they having those problems with communication, with substitutions, and being prepared and organized in the red zone?
Part of it stems from this, guys. I think part of it stems from the standpoint that they do a lot of substitutions, right? And a lot of defenses do this, don't get me wrong, but if you watch, the Chiefs are, rolling a lot of different guys through defensively in a lot of different areas And when I say substitutions, it's situationally, right? So we'll bring up Ben Neiman because he's everybody's favorite target, right, as the linebacker. But he's the nickel linebacker. Well, they're also subbing a bunch of different guys on the defensive line, and obviously a lot of that has to do with the packages of the offenses rolling out there as well. But what teams have started to figure out, I think, is if they get Kansas City and the defense in a certain personnel package, and then, oh, by the way, in the red zone, we're going to switch up that personnel package real quick. Well, now you're running 3 or 4 or 5 different guys back on, 2 other defensive linemen off because, you're not in a jumbo package anymore, and there just seems to be a lot of chaos and confusion around it, and then they're trying to get guys lined up. And I know there's, 2 weeks ago there was a situation where, they weren't allowed to sub defensively and probably should have been, but they've got to figure out a way to just play with some more of a base package and a nickel package as opposed to, rotate a bunch of guys around situation. And I think that's part of it. Sometimes you just have to simplify things and go back. And I think that's also the case where, if you're having issues with communication and with the plays getting called in through the headsets, right, to Anthony Hitch in the middle linebacker, you got to make a call and just go with it. And so I think sometimes you just got to get back to the basics and get back to simplicity, and I think that's what they need to do.
Mark Boerichter's our guest. All right, Mark, let's look forward to Sunday night, Bills at Chiefs. Do you still believe we've had a chance to watch about a month of the season, and we've seen some of the contenders in the AFC up close, like the Chargers and the Browns and the Ravens. Most people felt like the Bills were the best team besides the Chiefs in the AFC. Do you believe that now as the Chiefs prepare to play them?
I think they're pretty close. I really do. I think there's some teams that, obviously the Chargers came into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs. I still think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. I really do. I'm not just saying that from a homer standpoint. I really do overall. But Buffalo's right up there. And, anytime you've got a quarterback in this league, you've got a shot. And the Bills certainly do. And Josh Allen, he proved it a year ago that he was able to be consistent. They've got a really good defense. They got a lot of good things going. They're playing with a lot of confidence. And, I think this is going to be a big challenge for the Chiefs on Sunday night. I really do. I think this is the game that, I mentioned a couple weeks down the road here. Let's not press the panic button, but this is going to be a pretty good litmus test across the board, I think, because of the way Buffalo plays for this Kansas City Chiefs team, both offensively and defensively, to see where they're at here 5 games in.
All right, so the Chiefs beat the Bills twice last year. They beat them in the regular season, the famous game where Clyde Edwards-Helaire just ran the ball over and over and over again, kind of bad
beat
weather.
Beat the pants off of them.
Yeah, and they held the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen has not played great against the Chiefs. He didn't play well in the regular season game. They only scored 17 points. And then in the playoffs, they beat him 38-24. And Allen was okay, but not great, and the Chiefs' offense was. How have the Chiefs been able to slow Josh Allen down, maybe when other teams haven't as much? Can they do it again?
I don't know how they've been able to do it, Nate. I really don't. I understand it. They beat them twice last year, obviously, as you mentioned, but I think you've got to try to get pressure on him. I think that's the number one thing. He's got the ability to make other plays. And what I'd like to see Steve Spagnuolo do, and I just got done talking about being simpler on defense, but I'd like to see him bring more pressure. I really would. Obviously Buffalo's got some weapons, but I really would like to see Steve Spagnuolo be aggressive against. And this week I think they can do it. Make Josh Allen beat you, and if he does, he does. But get some pressure on him early, make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket, and then you might have a shot to slow this Buffalo team down a little bit.
Chiefs sacked him 4 times in the playoff game and hit him 3 more. So there you go.
All right, Mark Boerichter, give me your before we end up with, I'm going to ask you one other thing about the Raiders and Chargers, but before we do that, what's your official prediction for Chiefs-Bills on Sunday night?
I think it's going to be a 35-33 type of game or a 34-31 type of game. I think the Chiefs have to score over 30 points in order to win this game.
Yeah, we were having fun yesterday, and I asked Nate and Jake, okay, just give me the number that the Chiefs have to reach for you to be very comfortable that they win the game. And I said 42 because, I'm overreacting to everything. But I think, what did you guys say? 35?
I said 35.
What did you say?
In order to feel comfortable,
yeah,
I
like
said
they win
in
the game.
40s. They
yeah, 42. That's, because 35, I still think there could be a 38-35 final. That's just what it is, man.
I'll tell you this: I don't necessarily feel comfortable saying 34 points. Right? I really don't.
Right. It's like they got to score a minimum of 30 to win. I feel like, and then they got to score in the 40s to feel really comfortable.
You want me to feel good about it? Just kick back and relax. Give me 42, and I'm in. Okay, so Mark Boerichter, I want to play this clip from you. Joey Bosa was feeling it after the game at the podium. He said several things. He said that all officials are blind and that they should open their eyes and watch the plays, which I think would help. So now I would like to play this clip for you, what he said about Derek Carr, Raiders quarterback, after the game. I'd like to get your response to this. Jake, play it.
We knew once we hit him a few times, he really gets shook, and you saw on CeCe's sack, he was pretty much curling into a ball before we even got back there. So, great dude, great player. He's been having a great year, but we know once you get pressure on him, he kind of shuts down, and he's not as effective with the crowded pocket. So that was the key to it.
So basically say, hey, great dude, great guy, great player, but he'll curl in the fetal position and shut down if you hit him. So what's your reaction to Joey Bosa's comments about Derek Carr yesterday?
Well, I don't think Derek Carr is as bad of a quarterback as some people do. I'll just say that. But there's some accuracy to what Joey Bosa was saying, because the knock on Carr, if you watch a lot of his games, and we obviously see him 2 times a year here against the Chiefs, and more so because he's in the division, just watching other teams play, is that, he's not the most mobile quarterback, but he is mobile enough. And if you do get to him in a pressure situation, when the Chiefs have had success against him, it's by getting pressure on him. And, almost going, I don't want to call him completely going into the turtle position that, Peyton Manning used to do late in his career. But I even made this observation last night that, Derek Carr, you guys watch him throw deep balls, right? And this happened in their overtime win against Baltimore. This happened last night on the play to Ruggs. And Ruggs was open deep down the field on the one. But he throws the ball high. It's like a moonshot, right? And it's almost sometimes like Russell Wilson kind of does the same thing. But Derek Carr will throw it off his back foot, and it's almost like he's playing a game of 500 sometimes, but he's extremely accurate with it. But he gets super lucky on it, I think, sometimes in terms of the accuracy. But he throws it off his back foot. And when I say he throws it off his back foot, it's almost because, he knows he's going to get hit. And there are certain quarterbacks in this league that, if you get to him early and often, it's going to affect him. I think he's one of those guys.
Mark Boerichter, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We will talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, fellas. Have a good one.
It's former Chiefs wide receiver Mark Boerichter. What do you guys think of what Bosa said about Derek Carr?
I think that the Chiefs had that figured out about Derek Carr years ago.
I just like the compliments he threw in there.
Yeah,
great guy, great player, great season.
Really nice guy.
He'll shut down if you hit him. Play that. I don't agree with the Chargers or the Raiders. It's almost like, okay, this is going to seem condescending towards the other teams in the league, in the division, right? It's almost how you feel like when your kids are fighting. Like, oh, look at them. They're getting after it. Now stop. You know what? Let them go a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll learn their lesson.
We knew once we hit him a few times, he really gets shook, and you saw on CeCe's sack, he was pretty much curling into a ball before we even got back there. So, great dude, great player. He's been having a great year, but we know once you get pressure on him, he kind of shuts down, and he's not as effective with the crowded pocket. So that was the key to it.
Great dude, great play. Have a great season. He'll curl up in a ball if you get close to him, and then shut down if you put pressure on him. So, not a great dude though. Bosa was feeling it last night. You just thought they lost the game. He was getting after it.
It's accurate.
Jake, do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I love Bosa. I mean, he doesn't give a rip.
Play his comments on the officials one more time so people can get the full Bosa experience.
The full morning Bosa,
Right.
your morning cup of Bosa.
He was getting after that game last night.
His thoughts on the referees.
I mean, refs are blind. I'm sorry, but you're blind. Like, open your eyes and do your job. It's so bad. It's unbelievable.
You on the hold there?
I mean, look at the play. Sack, game over, 15 yards. It's a big deal. Obviously, that's on me. I should never lose my control like that. But these guys have got to do a better job because it's been years of terrible, terrible missed calls left and right. It's
Years and years. Years and years.
I just would have just started firing random topics at Joey Bosa. Hey, Joey, what do you think about
The only
this?
quibble I would have is that he says they're blind and then they need to open their eyes. That wouldn't really make a difference if you can't see. You know.
Maybe they're blind because they have their eyes
Well,
closed. Who knows?
that's true.
Any way you look at it, it's not complimentary of the officials
No.
in their eyesight.
And you can expect a nice hefty fine for that one.
The thing about it is, like, I keep saying this, in what sport do people like the refs? Think that they're doing a good job? Like, in what league, in what sport do people go, you know what? These guys are awesome. Love them.
I
job.
normally don't complain about boxing referees. I just can't stand the judges.
It's the judges.
Yeah,
that's-
because they suck.
They are.
and then some are corrupt. So,
Right.
You know.
Right.
But that's a very difficult job to referee in boxing, and I try not to criticize them too much because that's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But boy, those judges in some of these fights, they
are blind.
They actually do
Yeah.
have blindfolds on during the fight, and they just score it. Which I've never understood why they let them do that. You know.
Well, give them a challenge.
Right. A couple of times the judge, during a couple of the Pacquiao Manuel Marquez fights, the judge was actually faced towards the crowd, and his chair was looking outwards.
Judged by the crowd reaction.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
that's exactly. You know what? That's exactly right. That's the punchline there because that's all they do. Oh, Pacquiao breathed on it. 10-8 round. No, sir. Nope. Not bitter. GMM knocked him out and decided that rivalry. So thank you.
I thought that 15-yard penalty against the Raiders for spiking the ball.
Darren Waller spiked it.
Waller,
he didn't spike it at anyone.
No, he
just spiked it. So now that's stupid. And I don't care. I want the Raiders to lose. I like penalties against them. But why? What's that? The only thing that does is infuriate fans, players, and did you see it, Jake? You think, oh boy, they better penalize him? What he did to that
No
damn
fun around
football.
here. You can't have any fun around here.
You can hurt the football spiking it that hard. He didn't even spike it. He spiked it.
Sets a bad example for these kids that are watching.
Sets a great example.
Steve Levy said it was a lot of the younger progressive coaches that voted for this that were on the committee. It's not because they don't want celebrations. Yeah. They just don't want taunting.
Well, I haven't heard too much of what Steve Levy says because I watched Manning Cast, and I was forced to watch that broadcast last night. And normally I like Louis Riddick, but I got tired of him demanding the Chargers throw the ball to Mike Williams every single play, considering I was going up against Mike Williams. And it worked out for me in fantasy football. And also, did you see everyone getting pissed off? Wasn't it Louis Riddick last night towards the end of the game? The Chargers are the team to beat in the AFC West for years to come.
Ooh, I didn't hear him say it that way.
He said for years to come.
Wow.
Just letting you know. I know he's feeling it. He was in the moment. Someone tell me I'm wrong. He said for years to come.
Yeah, I guess
like right now this week they're the team to beat because they're in first place. But if that's the team to beat the year. Like what the hell? Did Mahomes just retire?
Right.
Need to redone? Like what happened?
What about the team that went to the Super Bowl last 2 years?
Right.
Or the team that's been the last three AFC
I kind of feel like
championships.
that's still, even in week 5, that the Chiefs are still the team to beat, but maybe I'm crazy.
Oh, but they're quarter way through the season.
Years to come.
Quarter way through the season.
Hey, look, I do think it's fair to say that they came into our house and won.
Right.
They're whatever for this year, but like to say for years to come, that's
how about you have to win an AFC West before you can say that.
And the Chargers have
before you say that,
won at Arrowhead against
for years to
Mahomes
come.
before, so.
For years to come, you have to first.
That was the one that kind of tipped it. I think K-Dog was pissed.
You have to first win the AFC.
Well, there's nothing better than a pissed off K-Dog on Twitter.
No, one of my favorites.
Let me tell you something.
That's good stuff.
I love Curtis anyway as a person. I think he's this is just me, and I hope he's one of the sweetest guys around. He's a big teddy bear. I'd like to put a big bow tie on him. All right, but let me tell you.
Is that what you do with all your teddy bears?
Yeah, sure. Why not? But let me tell you something. Red Ass Curtis Siebel on Twitter.
Man.
Watch out.
That's a must follow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Watch out.
I love it.
That's a grizzly bear.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Turns from teddy bear
He'll
to
take your
grizzly
arm
bear.
off. I like that.
Right.
It's exactly
He
right.
will maul you.
Yeah. It's like Gremlins. Put a little water on him, and all of a sudden,
Feed him after midnight.
So I love it. And he didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it. Oh, team to beat, huh? Bunch of red asses on Monday Night Football. I just feel for years ago, really.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs have dominated this division for a little while. It kind of feels a little bit like when KU was on that streak of Big 12 titles. It's like, yeah, let's not give it to somebody else just because, a month into the season, KU's hit a little stumbling block here. I think they've shown time and time again that they're able to recover from things like that and do well. The Chargers are good, though. I think we all agree with that.
Sure,
they're a very good
They're
team.
a top contender.
Yeah, they got a good coach.
That's what should have been said.
Yeah.
The Chiefs should watch out. This is the top
I
contender.
think the Chargers have identified themselves as the top contender to the Chiefs in the AFC West.
Okay.
To try to knock the champ off the throne.
Right.
I've got a serious problem on my hands with this, by the way, that I was going to talk to you guys about.
What?
Wow.
We'll take a break and we'll find out.
Yeah.
Nate's got
This is family related.
Oh, boy.
Nate Bucati has a serious problem to talk about with us after this on WHB.
Yeah.
Presented by Ed Baldwin at Community Mortgage. Mortgage rates are at historic lows. If you haven't taken advantage of today's low rates, work with a local professional. Contact Ed Baldwin at edbaldwinhomeloans.com.